Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope all of you are doing good. So it's been a busy week with HMD Global. There are tons of things to say. I do hope that fans of Nokia and HMD Global will subscribe to the channel because we are sharing a lot of information which are not really available out there. Especially if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see there are tons of news and information related to Nokia devices as well as HMD devices that you can't find elsewhere. Now, having said that, I did manage to interview Mr. Lars and Mr. Adam from HMD Global, which shared to me some additional information of their upcoming devices. So in this video, I'm mainly going to address the 4 devices that were teased from the announcement made by HMD Global in Mobile World Congress. Now, a couple of things to be known here is that these 4 devices are just representative of the different aspects of devices that we can expect from HMD Global. So they are not saying that we are just going to see these 4 devices, but we might get to see more than just these 4. And the partnership with Nokia ends in 2026, so this might not be the only Nokia branded feature phones. We might even see a Nokia branded smartphone as well. Now, moving forward, one thing I have to state here is that in the past, the devices that were teased by HMD Global were something that were a disappointment to many fans out there, because the teasers were unrelated images or videos that are really abstract, has no connection whatsoever to the devices, so it builds a lot of hype and kills them when the eventual devices are launched. But with the current management of HMD Global, and this is one of the reasons why I'm going to continue to support HMD Global, is because they take a very different and a bold approach to be different when all the worlds are seemingly converging on the same direction here. Now, let's go to the least interesting device. I would say the least interesting device would definitely be the HMD Barbie phone, not because it is a Barbie phone, because we know what to expect. It's going to be a flip phone. It's going to be in pink. Might have some very distinctive app, probably something related to metal or Barbie in that, something the likes of 2660 Flip. But what is the question here is that the operating system that might be used on this device, because we know that the S30 and the S40 platform is something that is associated with Nokia. So how is HMD Global is going to differentiate themselves if the partnership will end in 2026? So something to be thought at this point of time. But do note that the 2660 Flip and even the HMD Barbie Flip phone, they are supposed to be a digital detox device, which means that it is not for smarter OS to be powering them. It's supposed to be something that people want to detach themselves from the world and have a peace of mind. So it's going to be something that might be called as an actual dumb phone and not really a smarter feature phone. So this is what I'm speculating. So the choice of operating system is something that I really don't know whether we'll see the continuation of the S30 or S40 platform, or will be something entirely new. So this is something that we don't know. But when it comes to the Nokia feature phone that were teased, the clue given is that this is a popular device, something that people can associate with the Nokia branding, something which is ultra popular among those who have used Nokia device before. So that only pins down to a couple of devices. Now, if you were to see the highest selling mobile device in the world, or the most highest selling, most sold Nokia devices, the Nokia 1110, but I doubt that is the device being shown here, because the design of the original device was really bland. And I'm betting that it could be the 3310 5G, because we've seen a 3G version and a 4G version. It might be the right time to bring a 5G device. It could also be the Nokia 8110 as a 5G version, but hopefully it is not, because the experience is going to be really horrible. Users of the Nokia 8110 4G knows what I'm talking about when I say the experience is horrible. Coupled that with KaiOS, it makes it a miserable device. So the 3310 5G will be an interesting device, because it will be powered by a 5G chipset. That means that using S30 or S40 platform would be really an overkill in this situation, but you might want to leverage the 5G on a better operating system. So would it be KaiOS? Probably not. If you were to see the geopolitical situation, KaiOS has an ownership elsewhere, something that the other parts of the world might not want to use, but there's still a possibility, but probably less. So I'm speculating on a much smarter operating system, something that can be scaled on a feature phone like the Nokia 3310, and we've actually seen something like this before. The Nokia 3310 was actually teased running on a Sailfish operating system before, And my fascination and my fixation to Sailfish OS is something that I will also be sharing in this video shortly, because it is really an interesting operating system. You really need to try one to understand one on how good it is. Now, for those of you who might be wondering, yes, I do have the original Yola phone with me running on a Sailfish operating system, so I know how good it is, and I know how powerful it is, especially if it's running on a more modern hardware. So the 3310 5G is what I'm speculating to be the device, probably, but let's see when they finally announce it. Now, the main video here is definitely to address two phones that were teased, the HMD Fusion and the HMD Legend. Now, both these devices were teased rather differently, and we were also teased with something that looks exactly like this. So what is this? This is basically the Nokia N9. This is the Fabula device, a Fabula design device. So this image was shown in their promotional material, and you've also seen the video where the user is sitting on top of the phone and swiping through the screen. So this is, let me just get that right here. So this is actually how you interact with the Nokia N9. So this is the swipe gesture that was actually introduced with the Nokia N9. You can see this. It's a really fluid operating system. It's really sad to see that the MeeGo operating system was killed. For those of you who are not familiar with the MeeGo operating system, this was an operating system that was done with the partnership of Nokia and Intel. So when the partnership ended, Nokia sold their half to, not sold, Intel sold their half to Samsung, and that became the Tizen OS. And the actual designers and creators of the MeeGo operating system from Nokia decided to move forward and create the Sailfish operating system. What is unique with the Sailfish operating system is not just how well the operating system is designed to run on a modest spec hardware, and you can see how smooth is this despite being a very old device. And the most important unique thing about the Sailfish operating system is it is designed to be used single-handedly. All the gestures here will give you to operate it with single-handed use. And for example, if I were to go to, for example, to the setting, and let's go somewhere to display, for example. So all the interaction that I need with this device can be done single-handedly, and you do get a haptic feedback for the options that are being popped out. So you don't really, if you know the layout of how it is going to be, you don't really have to be seeing the device all the time. You can just swipe it, because there will be haptic feedback with each swipe to tell you that you are moving to the next option. So another cool interesting thing is with the operating system, I hope you can see, is this. Let's go back there. The Android app support. So for those people who are not familiar, Android operating system, when it comes to app support, it is not just supported on devices that are based on Android open source project. The other operating system that actually could run Android apps is actually the Sailfish operating system. So Sailfish operating system can run Android apps. So it is something that is really, I would say, a win-win situation, especially for those of us who want to detach ourselves from the clutches of Google, but also be able to enjoy certain Android apps, although not to its full potential. We do get the option of using the Sailfish operating system, a very unique operating system, true multitasking, really cool, really interesting take on how a smartphone is supposed to be. Now these days we are of course having a giant size device where single-handed use is no longer something that is can be done easily, and the operating system not really friendly. You have tons of customized UI out there which might look beautiful, but in terms of usability, nothing comes close to how MeeGo and the Sailfish operating system was designed, because this operating system were designed from ground up, from the basic interaction of human being, the swipe gesture being one of them. So this is all designed based on how we frequently interact with the things around us. Not many apps here because this is still stock, but you get the idea that everything here runs based on swipe gesture, something that makes it easy. So this brings us to the question now. HMD Fusion is a device that was teased differently. So the teasers of the for HMD Fusion is mainly through the toolkit for the other hardware. So this is where it is really interesting, because the concept of the other hardware was actually seen with the Yola Phone 1. So as you can see, the sandwich design of the device, because this is called the other half. The white cover is the other half, which can fit in any other modular component that you want. So this concept isn't new. It has been done before by Yola, which is one of the reasons why I speculated that HMD Fusion will be powered by Yola. But with my interview with Mr. Adam, he says that they would probably choose an operating system which is being widely used in multitudes of devices. So that would be Android, but it still doesn't rule out that Yola will be the supporting software provider for this device, because Mr. Adam told me that HMD Global will not be providing the software support for the additional hardware. So if you want to create additional hardware, then the question is, how do you have the right software to run it? So either the code for the software should already be available natively, which might be seen in Android, or we might see a heavily customized Android by a company like Yola, which is going to be unique to HMD Global. And do take note that Mr. Lars and even Mr. Adam has hinted that we will be seeing custom user interface on these devices. So I think that HMD Global might be leveraging on Yola to provide the software support for the HMD Fusion. My initial speculation is that HMD Fusion and Legend are basically identical hardware device, but powered by different operating system. One is targeted for a more niche group, which is the HMD Fusion, and another for the end users, common end users like us, which will be running on Android. But that does not seem to be the case. Probably both will be running Android. One might be having a slightly more customized version of Android, probably. Now, what I have decoded from HMD Fusion at this point of time is that it will be having two camera sensors. Now, this is one of the things that I recently tweeted, and I managed to enhance the images that we got, and it will be powered with an 108 megapixel primary camera. It is not stated here that it will have optical image stabilization, so it might mean that this device might be slightly more powerful in terms of its imaging compared to the Nokia Legend. We're going to get there soon. So what we do know for now is that the primary camera will be 108 megapixel primary camera with an ultra wide camera of unknown resolution. So we know that the Fusion, when it comes to the camera 2.0 algorithm, the Fusion technology already gives you sharp images, so you don't really need anything more than 5 megapixel, because most of the data will be coming from the 108 megapixel. Only the sides of the images will be coming from the actual ultra wide sensors. So in terms of imaging, like I said, a 108 megapixel camera which might not have an optical image stabilization with an ultra wide camera. Do we know anything other than that? At this point of time, we do know that HMD Global will be launching with the modular components, just to set an example of what we can expect to do with the devices at the time of launch. So it'll be an interesting one to be seen. But with that said, what else do we know about the HMD Fusion device? I think most of the story will go back to the toolkit webpage, where we are shown certain aspect of the device, especially the design, which doesn't look like the one right here. So the question is, why tease the design, the Fabula design, if you're not going to bring one? Some people just say that it might just be a random image that is being shown, but the last time we saw the Fabula design was during the Microsoft era with Lumia, and we don't see this design ever being shown again. So what has changed? So I do strongly believe that we will be seeing the return of a Fabula designed shaped device, and might not be launching together, might be something that we will see down the road. That brings us to the last device that we have here, which is basically the HMD Legend. So HMD Legend has been teased extensively by Mr. Lars as well as in the Twitter. It is supposed to be a next generation device when it comes to repairability, where you have only fewer steps for it to replace the screens. For example, with the ease of repairability, then comes the questions of durability, and also in terms of the IP rating. So this is something that we don't know yet. But enhancing the images, we do get to know that it will have an 108 megapixel optical image stabilization. We also know that there will be a total of 3 camera sensors here, one being an ultra wide, and the third sensor is unknown at this point of time. If it is indeed a 108 megapixel OIS camera, which means that this is going to be a more premium camera than the ones that we might see on the Nokia on the HMD Fusion, that might answer the speculation of a larger ultra wide sensor on this device. And probably the third, I would suspect, or I would say that it might be a telephoto sensor. But the reason why I'm saying it could be a telephoto sensor and not just a macro camera is because we've seen with the Nokia X30 a premium offering, which is basically a pure view device with 2 sensors, the primary and the ultra wide capture, and the depth image is just an AI algorithm. So the software decides the depth effect of it, so you don't really need a depth camera to execute it. So it will really make it redundant on the Nokia Legend if the Nokia Legend is supposed to be a premium imaging device, because we know that the software can actually do the trick. So the third sensor is something that I'm still speculating on, probably a telephoto, probably just a depth camera, maybe. I do hope it's not a macro camera. And when it comes to the design of the device, it's really interesting because we see sharp corners of the device, and in all the teasers here, the common theme is the top and the bottom half of the device are covered. So we do know that the top is covered because they don't want us to know the resolution of the camera, the optical, the number of sensors maybe, although we can actually dig deeper and find these images and get to know this information. I'm more interested to see or to know why the bottom half of the image were actually covered. Even in the device that were teased by Mr. Lars, the bottom half of the device was covered. So why is it being covered? We do know that the bottom half shouldn't have anything other than the speaker grill and the branding, but the branding was actually explicitly shown in the video that Mr. Lars showed. So I had to go back to the image that were teased or leaked much earlier, which shows that the user sitting on the other half of the device. So on the bottom of the device, if you were to magnify and zoom into the images, and you would see something that resembles this, a camera button, a dedicated camera button. So I am speculating that the reason why they're hiding, whether in the pocket image that were teased where only this half of the device was seen, or when Mr. Lars teased the device, again only this half of the device was seen, and in the image we have a person conveniently sitting at this half of the device, that means that is something that is hiding around this area. And I am speculating that this is going to be a return of the camera button. So if the camera button returns, then the Nokia Legend would be something that will be continuing the pure view tradition, but whether or not it will carry the pure view branding is something that is of speculation. Now the reason why I'm saying that is because Nokia G42 is an example that you don't really need a pure view branding, you just need to use the right sensor and a good algorithm to get a good image. Pure view, the definition of pure view has changed from something that is hardware focused to something that is software focused, because these days software is basically compensating for a lot of the things that were hardware dependent back then. So I would say that the Nokia Legend will be a camera centric device. It does look something similar to this with the squarish design and all that. It doesn't really look fabulous. I really like the design and the color, by the way. And you also see a hint of how the back cover ends and the frame begins, which means that maybe the back cover is replaceable, removable, maybe the battery is accessible, maybe. So with that said, in the coming days, weeks and months, there will be more news to be shared regarding the upcoming device by HMD Global. And for those fans out there, fans of Nokia and fans of HMD, fans of just something which is different, I do urge you to follow the channel and support me, where I hope to be sharing more informations like this. And I do hope that all of you stay safe, and to see you in my next video. Until then, stay safe and take care. And if you have anything to ask, you can always approach me in Twitter, where I am readily accessible there. So till then, take care.